welcome to another episode of the Make More Placements podcast, live in the Make More Placements community on Facebook, or if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify to the podcast, welcome as well. Today we're going to be talking about the real reason your recruitment or search business isn't growing as quickly as you would like and what to do about it. Again, if you're tuning in live on Facebook, just give us a like or comment, just so we know that you can see and hear us okay. And just so it's know it's working, and we're going to get started in just a few seconds. Terry, can you speak as well, just for a quick...
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are, and welcome. And thanks for joining us. And just to remind you, we're here every week, at the same time, every week, 1500 UK time. And the whole purpose of these podcasts is to help you grow your business. We're going to share with you tools, techniques, strategies that I guarantee will grow your business. If you enjoy it, please feel free to share it with your colleagues in the industry as well.
Awesome. Today we're going to be talking about the real reason your recruitment or search business isn't growing as quickly as you would like and what to do about it. Again, if you've just tuned in, give us a like or comment so we know that you can hear. But let's dive right in. This is something that me and Terry were talking about a few days ago with some of our clients in the Apex program. So, essentially we have a program called Apex where we help recruitment and search business owners make more placements for higher fees with less work and fewer headaches. And we got talking about why some recruitment and search business owners, grow year on year at the speed they want, and some have this problem where, it's effectively the same problem, but it presents itself in different ways. Where it could be that their business is slowly declining and downsizing. It could be that their business is, maybe it's growing, but just not as quickly as they would like. Right? So they've got this problem with growth or speed of growth. So we want to sort of break down some of the main reasons that, your business perhaps isn't growing as quickly as you would like, and what you can do about it. And I think, from the people that we speak to, people that we meet, you can be doing really well in your business. You can be, successful in your own right. Other people can think you're successful, but if you've got this problem within yourself, you still feel frustrated. You still feel almost like a failure, right? Because although yes, you're doing well, you're not anywhere near where you could be, or where you should be, or where you believe your potential is. And it's probably like one of the most common conversations we have with people, recruitment and search businesses that reach out to work with us. Terry, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, the question I would ask you is, if you go back to if you think about your business where it is right now, but you go back to before you set up your business and you were thinking about setting up your business, you would have had dreams and aspirations about what your business was going to do, what it was going to look like and feel like. And what a lot of people say to us is that I had these goals and these aspirations for my business, and honestly, it's not quite what I signed up for, because it's not quite going the way they'd hoped it to go for. And sadly, what can also happen then for some people is they fall out of love with the whole thing, because they feel that they're on the treadmill. They feel they've got to do the daily grind, and it's just doing this great daily grind just to stand still, because the business isn't growing. If it's growing, it's very small growth, and they've been in business for a number of years, and the sales remains about the same. And they think, this isn't what I signed up for, but I have to constantly be hustling and hassling for the next deal. So this is what this is all about, what's going on there. And say, you could be growing year on year, but not the right rate, or you might be, you've been at the same level for some time. And we just want to share with you some of the things that we've discovered that could be causing that. Sure, you may be making a good living, or okay living, as one client said to me. I'm surviving. Very rarely do I meet a recruitment and search business owner that's set up in business just to survive. Nobody wants just to survive. If you've got anything about you, you're going to want to thrive and grow.
Yeah, so there are four main things, or four main areas, four main identifiers to look out for. It could be that you're in a position where right now, all of these four things having an impact. Could be that just one of them, but whatever it is, I guess, take notes, or even if it's a mental note of what it is you need to work on. So the first one is, the first mistake or first reason that we see that recruitment search business owners aren't getting the speed or level of growth they want, is they're not able, or the owner or the founder is not able to accurately identify the bottlenecks in their business. So they're not, when we say bottlenecks, that could be What I mean by that is they're not able to identify the area that isn't working, right? So when you grow a business, when you start from scratch, you might have a problem with lead gen, right? So then you spend your time doing lead gen and you fix that, and then that might then create a problem with sales. So then you then focus and switches to, how do I fix myself? How do I make sure I am converting more of the conversations I'm having into clients or into signed contracts? And it might be that there's a problem with your delivery. So perhaps you're generating the leads, you're making the sales, but you're not delivering on the assignments that you've won, right? So then the problem comes in delivery and fulfillment, and then you fix that. You have almost this like never-ending cycle where, as you fix different areas of your business, they create a different problem. So maybe you fix delivery, and then that then creates a capacity problem. So maybe you then need to bring people in, employ people to help with that. Again, no matter what you do in business, as long as you're trying to grow, like we have a saying that we often use, comes from a friend of mine, that your business is broken, and as long as you're trying to grow, it always will be. Because as you fix one area of your business, then it sort of creates a problem in that area. It creates another bottleneck, right? And the most successful business owners, they're able to correctly identify, where that bottleneck is, what it is that isn't quite working, what is it that they can fix with minimum effort that's going to get maximum results. Well, I think one of the big problems we see is that although most business owners are working on the business or working in the business, trying to fix things in the business, they're working on things that aren't going to get them the biggest shifts. They're working in areas where they might think something's a problem, but they might think that they've got a problem with candidate attraction, for example. I just can't find the candidates. I just can't find the candidates to fill the roles that I'm working. When actually it's not a candidate problem, it's a sales problem. Because if they were getting better contracts signed, then they wouldn't need as many candidates, right? Or it could be that they think they've got a lead generation problem because they're not bringing enough business in, so it's affecting their revenue. And actually, it's not to do with lead generation. It's about the fee they're charging. Perhaps they're too cheap, right? So we often think we've got an idea of what problem is, or what the fix is, or where the bottleneck is, and we spend our time and energy working on that. But even when we fix it, so one fix doesn't solve a problem, and two, it can't be fixed until we fix something else. Is there anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, I think this is a real common one. So the common ones are lack of new business. So I'd ask an owner, what's your big challenge? We need to win new business, they say. So they see that as maybe that could be a bottleneck, or working with clients on low fees. So they don't appreciate it at the time, but they're perhaps working on the PSL, the PSLs, 13%, or they're working on contingents. They're working on contingents, so most of the job orders they're getting, they're not filling. So all these are bottlenecks as such, and if you don't identify them, so if you look at the contingency one as an example, if you're working on contingent and 70% or 60% of the roles that you work on you don't fill, then the bottleneck isn't the fact that you can't find the candidates, because if you're saying that those roles get filled anyway, the bottleneck is you working on those roles that you probably will never ever fill, working on the roles that you'll never ever get paid for. The other one is not being able to find the candidates. Well, again, as Drew kind of touched on, often it's not being able to find the candidates, it's not being able to find the candidates quick enough because you're competing with half a dozen of your competitors for the same role. The bottleneck then really is, don't work on those roles. If your chances of filling them are 1 in 4, 1 in 5, you're probably better off not working on them at all. Building a team, that's a real often one that comes up all the time. What's your number one challenge? It's finding consultants who can come and join me. And again, you want to think about that. Why would a top billing consultant leave wherever they are now to come and join you? There's got to be a really compelling and good reason for that. But it may well be that you don't need more consultants. If you go back to the contingent model, if you're not filling most of the roles that you get, bringing in a consultant is just going to add to that problem. You would be better off optimizing the job roles that you do get and actually filling them. Or maybe you've got the team and a percentage of your team are underperforming. They reckon that something like 20, if you've got a team, 20% of your team are actually underperforming. Well, maybe rather than saying, oh, I need to get rid of those, get other people in, maybe you need to work on those underperformers, because if you could just bring those underperformers up, what impact would that have on your business? But it's not identifying what the real bottleneck is. And by the way, wherever you are in your business, as Drew rightly pointed out, there will be a bottleneck in your business. There will be something that's getting in the way, that's stopping you from getting to the next level. That's part of running the business. If you don't like that, by the way, you should be running your own business, because that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. And I think that's a few good examples there. Like, sometimes people think they don't have a bottleneck and they think everything's fine, and it's like, well, there always is if you're trying to grow. And then it's on top of that, it's not identifying. I think you mentioned fill rate there. I think sales conversion was a good one as well.
Yeah.
Two prime examples where people don't often talk about them as their bottleneck, but when you look at their business, when we've worked with clients, it's one of the areas where we're able to get quick turnaround. So quick example, so I think one of the big problems is people don't often know what their fill rate is, especially contingency recruiters. They don't pay attention to it. But taking your fill rate on assignments, from 20% to 30%, that's a 50% increase in sales, or 50% increase in revenue. Sorry, it's not. Often people view it as 10% increase. No, it's 50% increase. We're now gonna, increase up by 50%. Same with sales conversion. If you convert at 20% of every sales meeting you have, you can only close in 20%, and we can get that to 30%. Again, that's a 50% increase in the number of sales you make, which is obviously same in revenue as well. Again, these are often done with a small tweak. It's done in a couple of weeks rather than a big project that needs working on. And again, if you can't actually firstly be aware of where they are and then know the fix, then it's always going to be a problem for you.
Yeah.
The second one is, so firstly, we've got not identifying the bottlenecks in the business. The second one is, you can identify the bottlenecks, but then you have the wrong strategy to fixing them or wrong strategy to overcoming them. Again, sticking with fill rate as a problem, it's one thing knowing that, actually the fill rate's my bottleneck. It's another thing actually knowing what the right strategy is to overcome it, right? So, it's about knowing what needs fixing, but going about it in the wrong way. And I think, this comes from, I guess, complacency in a way. I think, one of the things that we see with growing businesses is an owner, often with 20, 25 years experience, gets to a certain point and they almost get this level of ego where they think that now they know everything, or they know, they stop learning, they stop seeking new information. So I guess the formula that they've got to get to that level or certain level isn't going to help them get to the next level, right? So they can identify what the problem is, but they just haven't got the skill set to fix the problem. Is there anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, you've really hit the nail on the head there, about having the wrong strategy. You touched on this earlier, but you touched on the example of if your fill rate is let's say it's 30%. If you can get that to 40%, that's a 30% increase in your actual fill rate. And what most people will do then, with the wrong strategy, they think, oh, what I need to do is bring some more resources to fill these roles. Where that's probably the wrong strategy. The better strategy is to only work on the roles on an exclusive or retained basis. Because, for example, if you work on an exclusive basis, the average fill rate then is going to take you up to 60%. If you work on a retained basis, you always get paid for the work that you do. So you actually do less work, but earn so much more money. And it is just having a close look. And I have to admit, I'm sure you'd agree with me, Drew, it's not always easy to be aware of what's going on when you're actually in the thick of it, so to speak. And it's worth just getting someone in the outside, having a look at what you're doing and say, and sharing some of the challenges, because they will probably see things that you've never even considered before. So it's always worth doing that. But it will help you identify what the right strategy could be, because sometimes these strategies can then take you to the next level. In most cases, it will then take you to the next level. And do use the word optimization. If you can optimize your sales, optimize your fill rate, real simple things. You can optimize the performance of your team. If you can optimize those three by just 10%, that will have a dramatic impact on your bottom line.
Yeah,
just a 10% increase in those areas, if you get the right strategy.
Perfect. So we've got one, not identifying the bottlenecks. Number two is, having, identifying the bottlenecks, but having the wrong strategy. Could be a combination of the two. And then three, it's really about having, it's people that are able to identify what their bottleneck is. They've even now actually been able to come up with the correct strategy, but they're just doing the bare minimum. So they've got the right strategy, but they're just doing the bare minimum or using it to a bare minimum. And this really comes down to, I guess, work ethic, right? This is probably the rarest one of them all, because I think most people work hard. Most business owners we speak to work hard. So this is probably the most rare one, but sometimes you can be on the right path, doing the right things in the right moments, but you're just doing the bare minimum, right? So a few examples of that could be, let's say that you realize you identified that one of your bottlenecks is you don't have enough authority in the marketplace, right? And you think, okay, I have an authority with my potential clients. One of the strategies I'm going to use to fix that is put out more content, so whether it's video or written content. I'm going to put out more content to build my personal brand or company brand and have more authority in space, right? So we know what the bottleneck is, we've got the right strategy, but then there's a difference between putting out a video once a month versus putting out a video once a week or putting out a video every day, right? So it's sometimes I think we can be doing the right things, but we just do the bare minimum and then sort of wondering why we're not getting the results. So again, a question for you, are you prepared to outwork the current version of yourself, right? It's one thing sort of looking at your business and not being happy with where you are, but are you prepared to do more, put more in, right? It might be that you're actually doing the right things, you're just not doing them to the right volume, or so again, something you need to think about. Terry, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, it reminds me of, exactly what I'm talking about. One of our clients, Dan, he gets about 30 to 50 meetings a month, every month, with hiring managers who are in the market for what he does. And it's just by using one technique that we shared with him. But I was talking to him the other day and we were talking about this, and he said, when you first showed me this, Terry, I would do it every now and then. So I might do it one day, then not do it for 3 days, and then do it the other day. And in my head, it was like, oh, this isn't working. He said, it wasn't until I wrapped my head around the concept of consistency. Unless I do this consistently, it's just not going to work. And he said that was one of the biggest breakthroughs for him, just doing it consistently. It's a bit like going to the gym. You can't go to the gym twice a week for 2 weeks and then say, this isn't working. I still weigh the same amount and I haven't got the body of a beach body or whatever it is you're striving for. To get that body, to get that success, requires you doing it consistently, or what I say, on a regular and consistent basis. It doesn't happen overnight. This thing about overnight success just doesn't happen. So you've got to be prepared to outwork your competitors. Because if you do it, example, for a quarter, so you do it for 60 successive or consecutive working days, but most of your competitors will only do it for a third of that. It isn't because you're better at doing it, it's just that you've been more consistent in your activity. This is what this boils down to.
Yeah, in fact, that sort of jumped onto the next point. So again, just to recap, sort of jumped out a bit. So 1 is not identifying the bottlenecks. 2 is the wrong strategy. 3 is the right strategy but doing the bare minimum. So example of that would be using Terry's fitness example is, yeah, you want to lose weight, so using the treadmill is the right strategy. But if you're only doing 10 minutes per day versus that could be bare minimum versus an hour a day, there's going to be a difference in terms of results. And then like Terry just rightly said, is the next thing is about consistency. So why are you doing it every single day? If we're only going to be prepared to do the right things every now and then, we're not going to get the level of results that we want. And this is probably the biggest one that we see, is people that have they know what their problem is in their business. They even have the right strategy to overcome it. They're doing the level of volume, and it might be number of calls, might be content, might be number of email send outs, might be NPCs, whatever, right? Sometimes we've got these right strategies that we do, and we sometimes do it to the right volume, but do we do it every day? And I think this partly comes down to mindsets. Sometimes people self-sabotage and they I guess take their foot but on it. It often happens in your directly after a successful billing period, right? So one of the things that we constantly warn our clients about is that when they have a record month or record quarter is, okay, what we're going to do next, because that's when people tend to take their foot off the pedal and their consistency drops. Versus when you're hungry, when you've got nothing, when we're desperate to hit that certain number. Again, you've probably got it in your own business now where, if you've got a particular goal that you want to hit, let's say when you want to hit 100K a month, day 1 of the month, you're pushing hard, right? Foot's down to the floor. As you get nearer, and you probably see the same behavior in consultants as well, as you get nearer to that goal, hit that 80K, hit that 90K, get closer, you start getting a bit more complacent. You know, you start thinking you're already there already. And again, this is something that happens with, you know, almost the more successful you are, this is a bigger problem that you have to overcome and face. But it's the real top performers in any industry, whether it's sports, business, you know, relationships, whatever, are able to do, not only do the right things, but do the right things consistently. And if you can't do that, or you're able to do that, that's where you're gonna have this feast and famine, up and down yo-yo income that happens with a lot of recruitment and search businesses.
Yeah.
So again, just to recap, not identifying the bottlenecks. 2, using the wrong strategies. 3, using the right strategy but doing it to the bare minimum. Then 4, consistency. So using the right strategy, doing the right volume, but not doing it on a consistent level. Is there anything you want to add just to finish up?
No, you've covered that really well. Spot on, Drew. Absolutely spot on. So thank you very much indeed.
Awesome. So again, as Terry said, we'll be back same time next week. If you want help with any of the things that we spoke about today, if you go to makemoreplacements.com/start, the short survey to fill in. So again, you have to be a recruitment search business owner doing a minimum of 100,000 per year, you know, be at that certain level where you've already got momentum. So if you want to sort of go beyond the 6-figure mark to 7 or 8 figures, go there, the short survey to fill in, to see if what we do with our clients can help.
Awesome. Thank you very much for joining us. As I said earlier, if you've enjoyed this, please share this with your colleagues. And we'll be back at the same time next week. So until next time, folks, take care, take action, and be relentless. Cheers, folks. Thanks, Drew.